Good evening, viewers. It's Calypso Showcase time again. And what a treat we have in store for you tonight. We've got that controversial Calypsonian, Sugarallos, known in the Calypso world as Sugarallos, but his real name is Michael Anthony Osouna. Now, he doesn't only sing political, social commentary, as you know. He's given us some nice party tunes. He's even known sometimes to sing us a mean ballad. But tonight we're going to be talking with him. We're going to be showing you a little bit of his Calypso history, and then we'll be taking some calls from you later on. Michael, welcome to Calypso Showcase.
Thank you, Alvin.
Well, before we show the viewers a little bit of our edited video clip on you, perhaps you can tell the viewers a little bit about your personal life. What's your family life like?
Well, I actually was born in 37 Morvan Avenue, Morvan, and I grew up there for some time. Then I went to Second Caledonia, and then I moved to a place they call Sealets, where I actually live there, and then I'm on site. But I was from a large family. Actually, I grew with my grandmother, and I was just as conservative as everything else as people in those times, and I stem off from there and start having my own family.
Well, I heard actually you have quite a large family. How large is that family?
16 kids, Albert.
16 kids. Well, are they all with the present wife?
No, actually, it's like some in a basket here, some in a basket here. You know, life just move on, but presently the last set of children is with the wife, and that's it.
So you have a nice thing going there.
Very nice.
Well, we journeyed all the way up to Michael's home, and let's take you there now as we see Michael Anthony Osouna, Sugarallos, on Calypso Showcase. This week on Calypso Showcase, we have journeyed to Mount Lambert, adjacent to the Aranguez Savannah, to visit the home of Michael Anthony Osouna, known in the Calypso world as Sugarallos, a man with bitter lyrics and sweet voice. And we are now going to the back of his home, his backyard, so to speak, where he has ducks, fowls, whatever. A real kind of a home, a country type scene almost, with a duck pond for the ducks to bathe in, a clean yard for his chickens and whatnot to roam about. Michael, tell us about that side of your life, this with the fowls, the birds, whatever.
Well, first I must say it's something that I was really accustomed to. And it feels like the countryside when you're home here, because there you are, 6 in the morning, the cocks are there to wake you up, crowing and things like that. You have your little chores to do in the morning, you get up, you feed them. And in case you run short of meat, you know, you just grab a rooster. It's a bit economic, so to, you know, because sometimes it's not every time you'll have money as to go to the grocery for meat and things like that. But apart from that, it's just fun doing it. I grew with my grandmother, and this is how I know life to be.
I read where your actual trade or profession is a butcher. Is that so?
Yes. I've been a butcher for about 22 years. And I guess all that have me, you know, have love for livestock, because apparently too, I have some luck where livestock is concerned. Okay, right now I have 5 cattle by my mother in the back of the airport there. Mm-hmm. And those cattle originated from heifers I had bought to kill for Christmas some years ago. Mm-hmm. As for beef and things like that, and when I make my little trip outside and I came back, realized I was pregnant, I ended up getting young ones from them, and they just stay on.
All right, well, let's talk about your Calypso side of your life now. In fact, I want to touch on something that doesn't have necessarily anything to do with Calypso, but in 1978, not many people might remember or realize that you actually won Scouting for Talent.
Well, another stroke of luck again, because 1977, there was this Better Village group from John, to be exact. And I used to help out more than participate. And they turned and they asked me as to get a calypso written for them. But I used to do little calypsos and things like that. So I wrote a calypso and I brought it forward to them. The guy who was supposed to do that calypso, he didn't like it. For what reason, I don't know. Well, I decided if he don't like it, I ain't writing no more. Anyhow, Miss Alcantara at the time, she and Miss Vera asked me if I could go on and do it for them the Wednesday night. Never forget that. I said, okay. So I went up the Wednesday night and I did it together with the group. Mr. Hollywood Todier was amazed, you know, lyrical-wise and everything. That Calypso was entitled The Important Man.
Well, I think the action started for you in 1982. It meant your second trip to the semi-finals, and you sang two tunes. Beautiful People was one, and Planned for 1982.
That's correct. That was correct. It's amazing to know that. I mean, I haven't mentioned these things and you have it full of. I could just listen and you could go on talking.
It's my job to know these things.
Yes. In fact, Beautiful People is a tune I intend to do again. I want to do it over because those days, if you recall, I was not a recording artist. But I was appreciated by the crowd, the fans and everything. They always looked forward to hear Aloes come with a beautiful ditty.
Can you still sing any parts of Beautiful People?
I could sing parts from what you call Important Man.
Well, give me a little touch of Important Man.
Hold on a while. Dave, bring my guitar inside the film. Thank you. Although I started off with fellas like Brigo and them, you know, it started off like a joke and it ended up serious, right? It is hard, so very hard, to think about the structure called man. Because from ever since this world was created, so important from he God created woman. And because of his, science are advancing more rapidly. Now if you should listen most carefully, you would see eye to eye with me. A man took a big boat of iron and wood and make it afloat on sea. He took paper and ink with machinery and made us plenty money. And one thing I always watch with great care, he made planes to fly in the air. Man made knife, man made spoon, rocket to go to the moon. And he'll be going back soon. Then again, take a woman for an instant. To her, a man is really important. That was the beginning of Aloes.
Right.
Professionally, right?
And then 82.
82.
Beautiful People.
Everyone is beautiful, yes, but in their own way. These are the words that you'll be hearing anywhere you go today. Well, I'm going to draw some reference for you. You might laugh your belly full, but when I am through, it only leaves to you to admit if they are beautiful. Take, for instance, the mighty Brigo, King Fighter, and the mighty Popo. Well, you may want to say that they ugly from head to toe. I say no, 'cause I can show you points where you're thinking wrong. 'Cause people admire them when they walk through town, and they would smile openly to show you all their beauty. So you see, it's plainly to say, they are beautiful, but in their own way.
So when you took part that first time around, would you say that you were not really ready for competition like that?
No. I wasn't quite ready. Although my performance was up to standard and everything, I in my heart wasn't ready. Mm-hmm. It was something like not being prepared to say, go out there and get them. You know, it was just that I was being selected, and I say, hey, it's like any other show, go out there and do the best you could. Right. But other than that, I really wasn't prepared.
Now, I see the turning point in your career, actually, when you sang what I consider the first of your string of social commentary tunes, and the tune is The Argument.
Yes. I remember, well, even up to the time I was in the tent, during the auditions and things like that by Sparrow, I never even had a name for the tune. I just write the song, and I couldn't get a name for it. And a fella they called Mr. B, who does sing Calypso, he says, I said, boy, I have a song here, I don't even know the name of the song. He said, you write your song? I said, yes. He said, but how you could write a song and don't know the name of the song? I said, I wasn't thinking about name. He said, sing it, let me hear. So when I gave him the first line.
Well, give us the first line now.
Big, big, big bacchanal, that was confusion. War between a Trini and a Tobagonian.
Murder nearly take place, I tell you as man. Like the Trini want to kill the Tobagonian. The Tobagonian saying how Robinson real good. The Trini saying he don't treat people like he should. The two people can see each other eye to eye. And in the heat of the argument, the Trini cry. Oh gosh, election come and gone, and so was the fete. And the promises that he make, he ain't fulfilled none yet. Instead that things get little nice, it get more harder. We catching we tail, but he still take away we cola. The Tobagonian say, boy, halt your song like sad sack. The man went way to get money, borrow to come back. So you could say that he bad and he is the worst. I can't back talking cause he go fix Tobago.
So when I gave him the line, he said, but it's an argument? I said, well, yes, it's an argument. He said, well, that's the name of the tune, the argument. So there was it. People may not understand or believe this, but I don't mind whatever happened to me in a competition, be it rigged, be it I was justified by it. The fact that I am there to perform and to please the people, that is much more important to me.
Now, public advice, the year of the start of numerous callbacks. I mean, a few Calypsonians who show this ability to compose endless verses on a topic. Tell us how you prepared yourself for something like that.
Well, most of the times I done write a Calypso, I always find something more to add on to it. So it's like preparing another verse and then taking out the best four that you feel is, would stand up for you. But what happened with the argument, it was like inspiring me to prepare for such. Again, my father was responsible for writing public advice, Rudolph Bursell, because of the fact he said, son, you had to sing something like that again, because people like it and it's the truth. I said, look, I go think about it. And he keep pounding me every minute, he only harassing me. I said, look, you know what it is? I go take it up. Then not he alone, but I remember going through Woodford Square and a group of people stopped me. And they said, boy, sing about this, boy, sing about that. I said, there it is, another song again. Public advice. Trinidadians gone mad like they really said, cause they want me to stay on the same topic.
Either they love me too much or they just take care. They want me continue the argument this year. Aloes have things to argue about. If you check from the east, the west, north and south, check your daily papers or your weekly, and you must find a topic to sing for we. They tell me sing how a madman ruling this land. He moved the cock off the red house and put a dragon. This man like he pushing a demon head. Cause since he do that, check how many dead. The 5 children drowned in shallow water, and the young men who died down in Camp Omega. Aloes argue if you want, but let we face the fact, like the man who rule in this land sign up.
I remember a verse that I didn't have in at all, and a guy from NJAC, one of the NJAC officers, he come and he meet me on George Street. He say, Aloes, you could imagine that? I say, what? He said, look how Jamaica crying and going on, Gilbert. One day, we are rugby for 5 years.
I know.
I say, what?
They tell me sing Tobago to her disaster when she was hit by that great hurricane Flora. Jamaica went upon a laughing spree. Didn't even send a tarpaulin for we. But while we children here drinking sugar water, 3,000 cases of milk went to Jamaica. Jamaica had Gilbert for one day they shedding tears. But what about we who have Robbie for 5 years?
Now your second tune, Roti and Dalpuri, and it was your third trip to South. And tell us a little bit about Roti and Dalpuri.
Well, the actual composer of that song is a guy by the name of Mohan Paltu. You must have heard the name since you're affiliated with Calypso and Poems. But he have a problem. The problem with this guy is he's a very good composer, but when he composed, he had no melody, he can't sing. So he bring the lyrics, and I see it, and I like it. I improvise on the words and everything else, and then I went busting my brain to get a melody for it. Well, the truth about it is, I get the melody for it. I can't even play it on the guitar because, like I say, I know first guitar man, right?
Yeah.
But I end up putting it together, and it created something very nice in the atmosphere, especially where the two races is concerned. Because I remember Juve morning, I stood up to the corner of Independence Square and Frederick Street and watched a unification of Indians and Negroes whining and dancing to the same tune. So it's like the tune had created a bridge to bring these two people together, you know. And it was real beautiful, it was nice.
I want roti with tamarind, 'cause I love curry. Potashi and say, roti mango. I want aloo and chana, mango and paratha, but I need to chila. Oh God, go and tell her. Potashi locally, I want pumpkin tamarind, mula with the curry. Oh Lord, I want a baby. Gang, gang.
The next year came, and one of the tunes that helped you to get your Sunshine, one of your two Sunshine Awards this year, The Judge. Yeah. And I mean, here now, this was really to take you the distance. You were the young king, despite the fact that you shared it with two other people, Denise Plummer and the Fausto, yeah. And it took you to the finals that year as well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about The Judge.
Well, after public advice, my PRO, so to speak, that's what I call him. My PRO decided to pong me very decently. I remember he saying that if a man could stand up and probably proudly say he's the property of the PNM, then that man is corrupt.
This man say how Tambu is the best Calypsonian. For 89 he had the best composition. And for Tambu we have a special place in his heart. It was a real pleasure to hear the journey now start. Because I say I am PNM, he making strife. On television this man said I'm corrupt for life. If it's so he and the whole parliament in the book. 'Cause all of them was members of PNM too.
And when I did finishing the judge and I come off the stage, Coco watch me, he hug me up, he say, you wanna beat me up, boy? You wanna beat me? Mm-hmm. I say, nah man, I just go in and do my best. I say, you know my motto, or my motive when coming to competition. I go in and do it like a show. I go in out there for the people. I want the people who pay in the money to enjoy what they went and sit down and hear. And I went out there and I do it. And most people think I sing the wrong song to follow up, which is Signs at the End of Time.
I pray that one day this nonsense will cease. Mankind must return to uttermost peace. 'Cause the penalty is death and destruction. Man, know thyself, stop causing more complication. change your plan. It's time the world leaders come together. Stop trying to destroy one another. It doesn't matter if you're from England or Haiti, America, Iraq, Beijing or Germany. Sign the treaty, 'cause this was never meant to be. Man's supposed to dwell in harmony, but because of selfish ways, man creates things to shorten his days. 'Cause in this comfort and strife, what a life, what a life. 'Cause in this comfort and strife, what a life. In these times, but these are the signs of the end of time.
Well, I wanted to touch on that because you'd been doing FET. It had been going down well in the tent. It was one of the road march contenders, but it was also composed by Merchant.
Yeah, by Merchant.
Signs of the End of Times, I believe, was your
mine.
own
Yes,
composition.
was mine, yeah.
Did that influence your final decision?
No. You see, when you think you corner these judges and them, they like water. When you block them here, they bust out somewhere else. Now, when you check on the lyric on the sheet, you see lyrics and melody. You see the criteria. If you check the lyrics in FET and the lyrics in Signs at the End of Time, FET ain't have no lyrics. You understand? Right. To be honest, I believe in authentic calypsos. I could sing the party songs. I love it. It's a way of life for me now because I take up calypso full time, right? But when you're dealing with people who sitting there at a panel to select, you have to be strong. And I think the appropriate song for such a time was Signs at the End of Time.
'Cause in this comfort and strife, what a life, what a life. 'Cause in this comfort and strife, what a life. In these times, but these are the signs of the end of time.
You would never find me putting a party song in front of my authentic calypso inside the tent. When you look at it, the tent suffer because of that at times. Because if I appear in a party later, and I go in and sing FET in the party, why you must pay to hear me sing FET in the tent? And you go to the party later and enjoy yourself the same way, not wait till I come down in the party? So I believe, when people come to the tent, they come to sit down, they come for a show. They come to sit down and listen and enjoy, laugh, talk about the artist, talk about what they hear, and things like that. So I definitely wasn't doing FET. I said, FET, take me to San Fernando, fine. All that, because San Fernando is a festive area, and Saturday, Calypso Fiesta. You had to have backups to survive up there.
Review was spectacular, flashing in the savannah. So it's bad, really bad. It's back on Calypso. Everybody coming down for the bad. I said bad. When Trini come out of party, Mama, you the face on fire. TNT. We ain't joking. TNT. When we fetting, it's back on for soul. So can start to flow. Everybody on the go. San Fernando, Bossy. This is the part I want us to do together. Dead, 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 dead. One more. Dead, 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 dead.
Let's talk about this year. You're back in the Savannah again. You have all the experience. Tell us what happened in the Savannah this year.
Well, the Savannah this year, I went there Vikey, to be honest. I couldn't care what happened because I feel the only year I could have won was the year that, or the way I...
But my decision, were the words of that tune expressing exactly how you felt
Yes,
this
how
year?
I felt. It exactly expressed how I felt because of the fact that, I mean, the crown not important, the country bigger than the man. The culture is bigger than the man. So going up there and sing the things that the judges or whoever coordinating there want to hear, and if you don't do it, they spite you. I say, look, I sing it for my country and the people. To hell with this decision, whoever make the decision. Because, I mean, you want to tell me, big people don't know 1 and 1 is 2? You make a mistake, and 48 hours after, then you realize that.
Well, a good friend of mine, he vexed for so about the results from the Dimash Crash show. He want to know if I intend to leave it just so. Some say to the judges committee, others say it was a phone call from Robbie. But whatever it be, they think it's simply robbery with B. But he begged me, Aloes, don't give up now, and hope next time I come more strong. One or two people turn and tell me flat, Aloes, you sing the wrong song. But whatever it was that caused you to lose, the country went up in flare. And we waiting to hear you sing about it this year.
Sugarallos now, with all of this inside of him, what's he coming out with in 92?
Well, I had to get my pen and paper together and I wrote a song they call The Verdict. I ain't like it because it ain't putting out what I wanted in Aloes. I come and I change it to put on a thing they call Is Only Now, because I watching what's going on now. It's campaign season, election there. I still wasn't getting nothing. I lay down on my bed inside at night and I decided to watch some television, done bathe and a nice up and thing. And me and Mama lay down there. And the advertisement, Nicer Country, come on. I said, that is it. Well, I forget Mama was there. And I jump up with my pen. I pen 7 verses up to now.
Well, I read about it in the Punch just the weekend gone. Nicer Country, and you're giving us a taste.
Yeah, I must get a little taste of it, man. I stood down watching my TV one evening while relaxing. I come out of view a movie, I done bathe and a cream my skin. So I waiting on one TTT to see what they have in store. Well, they flash on an advertisement that got me upset for sure. Was this big fat woman on Stokes and Hill that really got me angry? Trying to fool the whole nation saying this is nicer country. Well, I get so blooming vexed because what they're saying is not true. And I'm sure poor sufferers know that they was lying too. Now tell me how this country could be nicer when school books and food so high. And retrenchment take over, putting water in people's eyes. And while the NE are planning to destroy the UNC, we have a serious overgrown population of vagrancy. How this country could be nicer when crime rate gone up sky high. And when them bandits attack you, is either you live or die. I really don't understand how this is a nicer country. So Stoke Central and Beulah must be mama guiding we.
Do you intend to include a lot more of the Indian music, the rhythms in some of your music in the future?
Yes, I intend to do that because it flavors, the Indian music actually flavors the Calypso much more. And since Shorty had did that crossover, it's about the best thing that I think ever happened to soca music. Right? It's like cooking stew and you put a spoon of curry in it. The pot tastes a little better. I would stay on the authentic vein as long, I don't care who government in power. As long as wrong thing going on, Aloes on the keys. I go on clear. I say that and I mean it. I ain't really interested in party, I'm interested in survival.
Well, congratulations. It's been a pleasure talking to you. You look comfortable in this environment.
Yes.
And it's been a privilege and a pleasure talking to you on Calypso Showcase.
I'm not on no fantasy. I'm simply doing a job, my baby.